So for today's project, we're going to be using the red Bliss potatoes to make our potato skins. We're going to boil them first and then cut them in half, gut them, and then roast them tomorrow and then fill them with a lot of goodness. All right. Also going to learn about chives that we're going to top these with. I'm going to show you how to mince these up. Chives are long, onion-like aromatics, I would call them, that are in the onion family, but they're not as strong as scallions, but they give a nice flavor to potatoes in general. Okay. Okay, so for the recipe it says about 2 inches of water, so you want to see where your second line on your knuckle on your pointer finger is, and just fill that up until there. Okay. Alright, so I've got enough water, and you see it's just about up to my second knuckle on my pointer finger. Obviously my finger is a huge sausage finger compared to yours, so even if it's a little less, the idea is to cover it with at least about 2 inches or 1.5 inches of water, so there's room for the potatoes to boil. Okay, I'm going to add my tablespoon of salt, and I'm going to bring it to a boil. Once it boils, I'm going to bring it down to a simmer, cook it for about 10-15 minutes, and we're going to use a paring knife or maybe our thermometer or toothpick to see if it's tender enough. Alright, so high heat. Okay, we're going to put our salt in, tablespoon. Okay, and then cover it. Alright, now it's really important that we use cold water so that the potato and the water come up to temperature at the same time. It's very important. Oh, okay, so as our potatoes are boiling, let's talk about the chives real quick. Okay, I've washed and dried these. You've got to be very gentle because you don't want to bruise them up. Alright, so we got some woody ends here. Okay, you're going to have at least maybe 10 to 12 sprigs per group. Okay, and once you mince them, you're going to put them in a labeled container on the same tray with your potato skins when we do the super wrap and put it for tomorrow. Okay, so first let me show you how this. You could do one at a time, or you could do a whole bunch at a time, but for the sake of simplicity, I'll just show you how to do one at a time. Okay, so just take off some of that woody end in the front, and now we're going to mince these very fine. We're not going to cut them into big strips. Maybe take some off the end. Okay, now you cut them in half just to get them closer. Now this is where your fine, like, dicing skills come into play. So you have to really use like the front end of the knife and press hard enough so you can have pressure that it's a very thin cut, but you're also cutting all the way through and they're not stringing together. So you get these really fine little circles so you can sprinkle on to the top of your potato skins. Now if you ever had baked potato, you've probably seen this in egg salads and such. This is a very popular aromatic herb in like Eastern European cooking. Alright, but as you can see, I'm really putting a lot of pressure against the knife so I get a thin cut. So take your time with this and get a nice thin cut. Okay, when you're finished, you're going to put it in the souffle cup, all right, and cover it and label it for tomorrow. Okay, so remember, you want nice thin pieces that you can sprinkle on. Okay, as thin as you can. So let's check our potatoes. They've come up to a boil. So now I'm going to lower my heat to a simmer. Okay, so it's kind of dancing, but it's not a raging boil, because if it's too high, it's going to rip the skins off, and we want the skins. Okay, cover it back up, and we'll check it in about 10 minutes or so. Set a timer. Okay, so the 15 minutes are up. Let's test this out here. Okay, I got a toothpick. Now we just want to make sure it's al dente in the middle. Okay, even if it's a little hard in the middle, we're going to scoop it out with the melon blower. So put your toothpick in. It seems nice and soft. The skin is still malleable. All right, so we're going to put this in the colander and wash it off a little bit so it's cool enough to handle, so we can cut it in half. All right, so now we've cooled these down so that they're able to be handled. So I didn't cook them to the point where the skin's coming off. We want to keep the skin on so we get that nice crispiness when we roast them. So now let's cut them in half, and I'll show you how to use the melon blower. So just lengthwise, not fat-wise, but lengthwise, just go in, try to get one cut, just straight down, okay, and split it open. Because if you keep sawing, you don't want to have too much of the skin come off, okay? This skin on the red potato has a lot of flavor, all right? So we're going to take the melon bowler, and this is a melon bowler. There's usually two sides. This is about a teaspoon size, and this is about a little under a tablespoon. So we're going to just take and make a few scoops out here, and we're going to save this for something else. So we're just going to go in, push it gently, don't go all the way through, and kind of do one of these balling motions right here, okay? Don't worry if you think the potato's a little undercooked, because we will be cooking it again, all right? We're gonna stuff it with some cheese and some bacon and some sour cream and top it with our chives, okay? So be careful not to go all the way through. That was a little too close there, okay? If you want to use the smaller side, okay? Okay, all right? So we're gonna do these with these, and we'll prep them and season them. Okay, let me just do a few more before I show you how to put them on the pan. Okay, so now I've gutted them all, and they're ready to be prepared with the olive oil, salt, and pepper to be roasted for tomorrow. And do not throw away the guts, okay? Get a container, put them in here. We could save these to make home fries, mashed potatoes, anything, okay? This is good stuff, don't waste it, all right? So we'll take some olive oil, okay? Just put some, a little bit in each one. And then we're gonna go and rub them all individually on both sides. Tomorrow we're going to roast them with the cut side down first as per the recipe. I'll just do one so I don't have to show you all. Just rub it nicely. Make sure you get some on the other side, okay? You know, this will help it to crisp up nicely, okay? All right, just take my glove off so it's not all greasy. So just take one of these and liberally season it with salt and pepper. You know, potatoes are tasty, but they can be kind of bland, okay? Make sure you get a good bit of that now. So we're gonna leave it like this. We're gonna season all of these. Take our chives right here, put it somewhere on our little packet here before we do our super wrap. And obviously always label it, okay? And put it on the appropriate shelf, okay? So this is part one today that we're doing. Tomorrow will be part two where we render the bacon, stuff it with cheese and the other toppings and